Have you ever noticed that the world has become louder, but very few people have become happier? From the moment we wake, our minds are flooded with notifications, opinions, deadlines, and endless distractions. We're constantly connected, yet many of us have never felt more disconnected from ourselves. Welcome to Book Bite. Today, we're exploring Seijaku, the Japanese secret to finding stillness, a philosophy that doesn't ask you to escape the noise, but teaches you how to remain peaceful in the middle of it. Because perhaps the greatest luxury in today's world isn't wealth, it's a quiet mind. And by the end of this journey, you may discover that the peace you've been searching for has never been somewhere else. It's been waiting within you all along. Part 2. Stillness is a hidden strength. Think about the calmest person you've ever met. They probably weren't the loudest in the room. They didn't rush to prove they were right. They didn't react to every disagreement. Yet somehow, their presence made everyone else feel calmer. That's because real strength is often quiet. Today, we're taught that being strong means speaking louder, working harder, and moving faster. We admire people who are always busy, always available, always responding. But Seijaku offers a completely different definition of strength. It says that true power is the ability to remain steady when everything around you feels uncertain. Imagine a deep lake on a windy day. The surface may ripple with every gust, but far below, the water remains completely still. Our minds can become like that lake. Life will always bring criticism, unexpected problems, disappointments, people who misunderstand you. You cannot stop those waves from appearing, but you can choose whether they disturb your deepest self. Every time you pause before reacting, every time you choose understanding instead of anger, every time you protect your peace instead of proving a point, you become a little stronger. Not because you've defeated the world, but because you've learned not to be controlled by it. Seijaku reminds us that the strongest people are not the ones who create the most noise. They are the ones whose peace cannot be taken away by it. Because a calm mind isn't a sign of weakness. It's one of the greatest forms of strength a person can ever develop. Part 3. Silence lets you hear yourself. Have you ever wondered why so many people are afraid of silence? The moment everything becomes quiet, we reach for our phones, turn on the television, play music, anything to avoid being alone with our own thoughts. Perhaps it isn't silence that makes us uncomfortable. Perhaps it's what silence might reveal. For most of history, people found answers by sitting quietly with themselves. Today, we search for answers everywhere except within. We ask strangers for advice. We compare our lives with people we've never met. We keep consuming more information, hoping that one more video or one more opinion will finally make everything clear. But clarity doesn't come from adding more noise. It comes from creating enough silence to hear your own voice again. This is one of the deepest lessons of Seijaku. When the mind becomes quiet, something remarkable begins to happen. The worries that once felt overwhelming start to lose their grip. The decisions you've been struggling with become a little clearer. You begin to notice what truly matters and what never deserved your attention in the first place. Silence doesn't magically solve every problem, but it gives your mind the space it needs to understand them. That's why some of your greatest ideas appear during a quiet walk, a peaceful morning, or the few moments before you fall asleep. Not because those moments are extraordinary, but because your mind finally has room to breathe. Seijaku reminds us that the answers we spend our lives searching for are often hidden beneath the noise we create every day. And sometimes, the most important conversation you'll ever have is the quiet one you have with yourself. Part 4. Stop reacting to everything. Have you ever said something in anger, only to wish a few minutes later that you could take those words back? Most of us don't suffer because life is difficult. We suffer because we react before we understand. One message ruins our mood. One criticism stays in our mind all day. One unexpected problem makes us believe everything is falling apart. We allow small moments to control our peace. Seijaku teaches us a different way to live. It reminds us that between what happens to you and how you respond, there is a quiet space. And inside that space, you have a choice. Imagine someone throws a stone into a calm pond. The water ripples for a moment, then slowly becomes still again. Our minds often do the opposite. One small event creates waves that continue for hours, sometimes even for years. Not because the event was so powerful, but because we keep replaying it. Every time you pause before speaking, every time you choose understanding over anger, every time you refuse to let another person's actions decide your emotions, you protect something incredibly valuable: your inner peace. This doesn't mean ignoring problems. It means facing them with a calm mind instead of an emotional storm. Because a peaceful response is almost always wiser than a quick reaction. Seijaku reminds us that maturity isn't measured by how fast we respond. It's measured by how deeply we understand. And sometimes the strongest thing you can do is pause. Take one slow breath and choose peace before you choose words. Part 5. Your attention shapes your life. If someone asked you what the most valuable thing you own is, what would you say? Your home, your savings, your career. But there is something even more valuable than all of those: your attention. Because whatever receives your attention slowly begins to shape your life. The books you read, the conversations you have, the thoughts you repeat, the people you follow. Day after day, they quietly become part of who you are. Yet today, our attention is constantly being pulled in every direction. Before we've finished one thought, another notification appears. Another headline demands our focus. Another video promises to keep us entertained. Without realizing it, we allow the world to decide what deserves our attention. And eventually, we wonder why our minds feel so scattered. Seijaku reminds us that attention is like a garden. Whatever you water will continue to grow. If you feed your mind with fear, comparison, and endless distractions, those things will slowly take root. But if you give your attention to peace, learning, gratitude, and the people who truly matter, your inner world begins to change. You may not be able to control everything happening around you, but you can always choose what deserves a place in your mind. Because your attention is your life. Every moment you give away is something you'll never get back. So protect it carefully, because the quality of your life will always be shaped by the quality of your attention. Part 6. Nature remembers what we forgot. Have you ever noticed how different you feel after spending time in nature? Your problems don't suddenly disappear. Your responsibilities are still waiting for you. And yet, something inside you feels lighter. It's almost as if the world becomes quieter, even though nothing around you has really changed. Perhaps that's because nature lives the way we were always meant to live. A forest doesn't rush. A river doesn't compare itself to another river. The wind doesn't worry about tomorrow. Everything simply moves with quiet purpose. But somewhere along the way, we forgot that rhythm. We began measuring our lives by deadlines instead of sunrises, by notifications instead of birdsong, by productivity instead of peace. The more we disconnected from nature, the more we disconnected from ourselves. Seijaku reminds us that nature isn't just a place we visit, it's a teacher we stopped listening to. When you watch the waves reach the shore, or hear leaves moving gently in the wind, nothing is asking for your attention. Nothing is trying to sell you something. Nothing is telling you to hurry. For a few moments, you're simply allowed to exist. And perhaps that's why nature heals us. Not because it changes our lives, but because it reminds us who we were before the world became so loud. Maybe the peace you're searching for has never been hidden. Maybe it's been waiting beneath an open sky, patiently reminding you to slow down, to breathe, and to come home to yourself once again. Part 7. Let go of what disturbs your mind. Have you ever noticed how easy it is to carry something that happened years ago as if it happened yesterday? A harsh comment, a broken relationship, a mistake you wish you could erase. Someone may have forgotten it long ago, yet your mind continues to relive it. Not because the past is still happening, but because you've never truly let it go. Seijaku teaches that peace is not only created by what we add to our lives, it's also created by what we choose to release. Many of us spend so much energy holding on to anger, to regret, to comparison, to expectations that were never meant to become reality. We believe these thoughts protect us, but more often they simply keep us trapped. Imagine trying to fill a glass that is already overflowing. No matter how much fresh water you pour in, nothing new can stay. Our minds work the same way. When they're filled with yesterday's pain, there is little room for today's peace. Letting go doesn't mean pretending nothing happened. It doesn't mean forgetting the people who hurt you. It means deciding that your future deserves more attention than your past, because every moment spent carrying unnecessary weight is a moment taken away from the life waiting in front of you. Seijaku reminds us that stillness is impossible without release. Sometimes the greatest act of self-care isn't adding another habit. It's finally putting down the burden you've been carrying for far too long. Because peace doesn't enter a crowded mind. It enters the mind that has learned to gently let go. Part 8. Find peace in ordinary moments. When was the last time you felt completely at peace? Not because something extraordinary happened, but because, for a brief moment, you simply felt alive. Perhaps it was while sipping a warm cup of tea, watching the rain against your window, feeling the morning sunlight on your face, or listening to the laughter of someone you love. These moments are so ordinary that we often overlook them. We keep waiting for happiness to arrive through a promotion, a vacation, or some future achievement. All the while, life quietly passes us by. Seijaku reminds us that peace is rarely found in dramatic moments. It lives in the simple ones, the moments that ask for nothing except your presence. The problem isn't that beautiful moments are rare, it's that our minds are usually somewhere else. We're thinking about tomorrow while living through today. We're worrying about what's missing instead of noticing what's already here. But the moment you slow down, something changes. The ordinary begins to feel extraordinary. A gentle breeze becomes comforting. A quiet evening becomes enough. A simple conversation becomes unforgettable. Not because the world has changed, but because your attention has. Perhaps happiness has never been hiding in a distant future. Perhaps it has always been waiting inside the ordinary moments you've been rushing past. And maybe the secret to a peaceful life isn't learning how to find more beautiful moments. It's finally learning how to notice the ones you already have. Part 9. The calm mind sees clearly. Have you ever struggled with a decision for days only to find the answer during a quiet walk or a peaceful morning? It almost feels as if the answer appeared out of nowhere, but perhaps it was there all along. Your mind was simply too noisy to notice it. When our thoughts are constantly racing, everything feels urgent. Every problem looks bigger than it really is. Every fear sounds like the truth. We stop seeing life clearly because we're looking at it through a restless mind. Seijaku teaches that clarity doesn't come from thinking more, it comes from becoming quieter. Imagine looking into a lake after a storm. The water is disturbed, the reflection is broken. You can't see what lies beneath the surface. But as the wind fades, the water slowly becomes still. Suddenly, everything is visible again. Our minds work in exactly the same way. The more we rush, the less we understand. The more we panic, the more mistakes we make. But when we allow ourselves to slow down, our thoughts become gentler, our emotions settle, and what once felt confusing begins to make sense. This is why some of life's greatest decisions should never be made in anger, fear, or exhaustion. A peaceful mind sees possibilities where an anxious mind sees only problems. Seijaku reminds us that wisdom isn't about having all the answers, it's about creating enough inner stillness for the right answers to quietly reveal themselves. Because sometimes the clearest path forward doesn't appear when you push harder. It appears the moment your mind finally becomes still. Part 10. Becoming unshakable. What if peace was never meant to depend on a perfect life? What if the goal was never to remove every problem, but to become someone who could face those problems without losing themselves? Most of us spend our lives waiting for the day when everything finally settles down, when work becomes easier, when money is no longer a worry, when people stop disappointing us, when life becomes predictable. But that day rarely comes. Life will always change. There will always be unexpected endings, new beginnings, moments of joy and moments of heartbreak. The world has never promised us certainty. Seijaku teaches that true peace is not found in controlling life. It's found in becoming steady enough to move through it. Imagine a lighthouse standing beside the ocean. Every day, powerful waves crash against it. Strong winds surround it. Storms come without warning. Yet the lighthouse remains where it is, not because the storm is weak, but because its foundation is strong. That is the kind of person Seijaku invites us to become. Someone who is kind without becoming fragile, calm without becoming passive, strong without becoming hard. Because real peace is not something the world gives you. It's something you quietly build within yourself, one day at a time. And once that inner stillness becomes your foundation, life will still surprise you. People will still misunderstand you. Problems will still appear, but they will no longer have the power to steal the peace you've worked so carefully to create. Perhaps becoming unshakable doesn't mean living without storms. Perhaps it means becoming the kind of person who can stand peacefully even while the storm continues to pass.